Guys, what's going on? Still here cranking out on the office. Want to talk to you guys today about this NZD. Massive sell-offs going on. What the hell's happening? And CHF is bringing back a little bit of strength. Okay, so let's roll the intro. Let's talk about it. All my traders, what's going on, guys? Welcome back, guys, to the Sunday market breakdown. It's your boy Cleveland. All right, hope you guys have had an awesome week. Last week, that dollar was stuck up a little bit, right? We'll talk about what went down last week. But we did have some of these emerging market pairs and some of the other G10 that made some serious moves, okay? CAD being one of them. All right, so we'll talk about that. And outside of that, you know, I'm still settling here into the new space. I did have a dope little workshop for all the people in the top trader community here in the city. I'll roll some B-roll so you guys can check it out. It was really informative. We were talking a whole lot about just the infrastructure of the trading business and, you know, rationalizing and thinking of yourself not as a trader, but as somebody who manages money, right? Because here's the parallel, right? What does a trader scrutinize the most, you know, when it comes to their business? They scrutinize making good trades, right? But what a money manager has really one priority, and that's capital growth. Right. And so what happens if you pivot that mindset to, you know, thinking of yourself as a money manager, then what happens? You end up adopting those same qualities, and your business structure revolves around not, you know, having substantial losses and having that exponential upside. OK, so that's what we were talking about. It gets pretty deep. I'm rambling on a bit, but we can talk about it as well. Comment down below. Let's have a conversation. Okay, so guys, if you're new to the channel, what's up? Welcome. Make sure you guys like the video if you enjoy it, and stay subscribed, of course, because how else would you know we crank out on these content segments on a weekly basis. All right, so wanted to talk to you guys real quick about that NZD. If you guys look at this NZD on this dollar, man, holy cow. I'm going to show you guys this thing on a weekly. Look at this sell side. All right, that is a lot of sell side. And what is the catalyst to this happening, right? So we'll go into the charts and we'll talk about it from a technical perspective. And tomorrow we'll mention it in the fundamental perspective. Okay, so that's going to be dropping tomorrow, just a Forex news segment that we like to crank out on, man, because everything else is somewhat, you know, moving, you know, sell side against the dollar because the dollar is gaining strength. But the New Zealand dollar is the only pair, you know, one of the only pairs that is actually just selling the hell off. Irregardless of what the dollar does, we're still seeing that US dollar gain strength relative to that NZD. And if you guys take a look at all the other NZD pairs, again, I'll throw 4 up right here. Some of the NZD crosses, you guys can see that the NZD, again, is having a hard time. All right, so let's talk about that tomorrow. But we'll go into the charts today and see what kind of structures exist for us to potentially take a move. All right. Outside of that, what structures exist right now in today's markets? Okay, we can talk about the Euro U. That market is that structure is pretty interesting. We can talk about the CAD as well. CAD had a pretty decent sized up move after the CPI came out. And I want to take a look at the GBP/JPY. We mentioned the GBP/JPY for a quick second on last week's video. So you guys, what we're looking for on the GBP/USD, if we can hold in this structure here, pretty interesting. And we're actually looking for something on the GBP/JPY as well. And it still hasn't had the sizable up move that we were expecting. The market structure was looking pretty good. We were looking for a long opportunity. And if I show you guys the chart real quick here, you guys can see that the technical perspective definitely gives you a little bit of an edge when it comes to markets maybe pushing back to the upside. Pretty decent size sell-off, came back over into structure. Maybe we'll see a continuation up in the structure. Okay, so folks, I think markets this week are prime and ready. I think we have some opportunity. So we're just gonna have to stay tuned as to obviously what's happening from a fundamental perspective, just to give us a little directional bias. I'm really interested in what the dollar is going to do. The dollar index here, take a quick look. You guys can see it's holding that high. Are we going to break that high? Our market's going to pull down a bit. We'll look at the fundamentals. I'll pull over when I go into the charts. We'll look at Forex Factory and trading economics and see exactly, okay, this is what the fundamental picture looks like. And then maybe we can start having that conversation as to say, okay, well, based off of all the past data that we've seen from the dollar over the past few weeks, this is how I'm going to interpret this fundamental data that's coming out. And maybe we can make the right hypothesis as to what's going to go down. And that's if we have the data this week, right? So guys, look, make sure that you guys stay subscribed. I'm happy to have you here. Like the video for your boy. Let's head over into the charts all the way behind me now, and we'll take a look at the technicals. Let's head over into the charts. All right, traders, taking a look here at the market, you guys can see that we do have a lot of bank holidays on Monday, so we're probably going to see a lot of calmness going in on Monday, right? We have Canada bank holiday, Euro, French, and German, all right? But pulling over into Tuesday, still nothing on the U.S. dollar front, up until we get to Wednesday, which is your standard crude oil numbers, and we do have a FOMC meeting, so that's going to be pretty interesting. We will stay tuned for that. We'll have a call on Tuesday night in the trader community. You guys can click the link in the bio, by the way, if you want to get in there. But we'll have a call before that happens and kind of see where markets are structured to maybe give us an idea as to where we could take them. Outside of that, again, we have a few more data releases, orange letter stuff. So, medium, nothing too jarring for markets. ECB policy meeting on Thursday, so that's going to be pretty interesting as well. And then Friday, that's when we have Powell speaking, okay, right here at 9:20, interesting time. Okay, we have Carnegie speaking as well. I think they're going to be doing that speech together, all right? So just a lot of policy meetings, probably speaking more about just, just involving the economy in general, and just different forecasts that they see where markets can go, okay? Australia, we do have an RBA meeting as well, but again, probably nothing too jarring, all right? So from a fundamental perspective, looks like Monday is going to be pretty calm. We'll definitely push out another video before Tuesday, and we'll have an idea as to where the markets are, and we'll just kind of give Monday, let markets roll around a bit. Tuesday morning, I'll push something out there and kind of see where we're at, okay? If we actually look at markets, this is what we're looking like from a fundamental perspective, from a technical perspective. Here on that monthly, you guys can see we're right down in that same structure at 1760. If you guys notice from the 0 level here to the 100 level, you guys can see that we're sitting at that 78.6. That is not a very substantial level for us. So we can basically pull that off at this point because that's a complete trend reversal. Once markets broke that 61.8, that's what we coin as a trend reversal. Pushing from the low to the high here, you guys can see we're nearing that 38.2. And nearing that 38.2, we still got some room for downside, okay? So this market could really run back down into the 16 flats. Once we run to the 16 flats, then we could potentially see this market start to kind of hang around a bit. 16 flats being really the 16.20, 16.30, it's really the 16 lows, and really kind of maybe even hanging around these 16 mids, $16.50, blah, blah, blah. You guys get what I'm saying. Going over to the weekly perspective, you guys can see for the week, massive sell-off. Look how much strength came in on that dollar, okay? And at the same time, we did see a little bit of euro weakness during this time, but mostly this is that US dollar strength. If I pull over here and show you guys that dollar index, pull up that dollar index on a weekly perspective, you guys will see that that dollar index is pushing as well, and we broke outside of that lower consolidation that we knew markets would break out of. That's why this was such a profitable position for us about 2 weeks ago. We had both of these two massive moves here, and a lot of my guys got stopped out around this area because of that pullback. And as you guys can see, what do we get? We got a wick fill up into that same price area once markets consolidated at that low. There was more buying that came in, and they filled it up back to that previous high. It's a very, very standard way that markets move, okay? You guys can see that here. You see a little counter trend line break outside that push up in the structure. If I show you guys what that looks like, something like that, right? So basically, it's almost like a pennant almost, except you didn't get too much consolidation at the low. You did get markets to start to hang around that lower structure there. Pretty interesting stuff. If I pull open the daily, this is what we're looking like from a daily perspective. We're running. We are running, man. It's so interesting. Where is this thing going to stop? As you guys can see, again, the 93.90s, really the 94 flats, is a place that we could see this dollar index start to calm down a bit. So we'll see what happens this week. Lots of policy meetings, ECB and US. I think that'll give us a catalyst. It's our job now to make the trade, okay, to make the trade. But I need a directional bias first, so I'll keep an eye out on what market participants are concluding, see what some of the other and obviously build my own bias, fit it into that, and just make a calculated decision before the market gets there. That's what we're trying to do. So we still have the GBP/AUD here. That's interesting. Well, I wanted to show you guys the Aussie USD before we start heading over into crosses. Aussie USD. Let's pull open the monthly. Aussie USD is now in this lower structure here as well. Okay, full retest back down into this area once markets broke up into this structure into 2017, beginning of 2018. We've now had a full retest back down into that price area, and really the same thing. If that RBA conference goes well, then we will see markets have an opportunity to push up into that structure. That's what that blue line that I have drawn up there represents. I wanted to see markets consolidate in this price area, and we are wicking here. It's a good sign that the market closed with the wick that didn't pull all the way back down in, but we could get a wick fill before we get the market to push up in the structure there, especially if we get some more US dollar strength. Then obviously we're just going to continue sell side. All right, so that's just something that we're going to have to look out for. We still see that there is more downside potential on this US dollar. I probably want to play that over here on this Euro USD, maybe just take a breakout lower, but I would need some consolidation at the low. I know I'll find some consolidation the lower I go, but then that also means that the less certain I am that it's actually going to do it. So right around the 1760s, we do see there is a slight base that is forming a support level. Well, if we can calculate that markets are going to potentially start hanging around here, maybe breaking back down, we don't have a horrible risk reward. My stops wouldn't probably go up in here. I'll probably have some stops around this price area, and this will really be my entry to stop spread. Very important. Most important part of trading when you're actually executing those positions is that entry to stop spread. How wide of that is that spread, and is it a logical positioning of the market? Once you can rationalize that entry stop spread, we can then start having conversations about targets, okay? But that entry stop spread is the definition of everything, all right? So I just want you guys to always remember that. Pulling over here to this GBP USD. Let's see. Here's that. I'm still on GBP JPY. Goodness. So 1, 2, 3 USD. Looking at the GBP USD, you guys can see that markets are also consolidated at this low. So we had this drawn up last week. This was one of our trades that we were looking for, and as you guys can see, we never got triggered in. Markets are still pushing lower here for this US dollar. We wanted to see a test back of this previous structure. We didn't get a chance to see it. It was a very likely position. We weren't asking for too much. If we got back up into that area pretty flawlessly, we potentially could have trailed stops up into that area, or you could have taken some size off here and let the rest run, but we never even got in. All right, so if markets can hold this structure here, well, then all I'm going to do is just extend this bad boy over to the left right here, and I'm going to look for that same trade again this week. All right, so I'm just kind of sitting on my hands. What I would not want to happen if my directional bias is long is a break of this lower structure here, right? Because you could really flip this. This could be your entry. You know, some people may have that as their entry, and this is their target, right? Some people might be wanting to take this bad boy sell side. Now, look, I was hoping that this US dollar would pull back a bit, but again, looking at the Euro-U and looking at that dollar index, I definitely see that we could run a solid, you know, maybe potentially another 40, 50 pips. And if that's the case, then, you know, potentially that'll give us another little burst of price action to the sell side here on the GBP USD. Okay, so it's all about what you're looking for, right? I mean, it makes sense. You have two different theories. You could basically say that the momentum of this entire move is exhausted and that it has to pull back a bit, or you could basically say that, hey, look, you're going to need one more leg down before this move truly exhausts and get into the thicker parts of this consolidation, and then I can start looking for up moves. But what that means is you do have now yourself a sell side opportunity. Okay, so you know, rationalizing in this sense and looking at this 50% level, I just see a lot of price action down here, and we really could see this market turn over and start to hit back down into this area, right? So let's keep an eye out on what we get. If I start to see markets start to play around within this price range back to the upside, you know, maybe we start putting some size there. But again, you never want to be the OCO, okay, on the condition of. That's a feature in everyone's broker, well, most people's brokers, that allow them to take a trade to the upside or to the downside, irregardless of any kind of directional bias. That's not the game you want to play. You don't want to have a situation where you're thinking, okay, I can go long or short, and you don't really care. You always want to have a directional bias. So let's pull out into the monthly. That's not the monthly. There we go. So let's pull out to the monthly here, if you guys can see. Again, from the low to the high, this is our 2017 low. All right, this is Article 50 here, almost 2 years ago, when we had them leave the EU. We had another referendum here style event, really just a more or less a contractual obligation that they had with the EU that got cracked down, and it drove markets even more sell side. And now we've pushed to the high here, and we pushed to this high because all that US dollar weakness that we saw throughout 2017. And that same US dollar is now pulling back a bit. So in retrospect, we haven't even really pulled back dramatically. We're at that 38.2. And if we think that that US dollar can gain a little bit more strength and that there will be a little bit more uncertainty in that UK economy, then we'll definitely run down to that 50. Okay, we'll definitely run down to that 50. I really did want to play it back up in the structure here. But again, just kind of rationalizing from the fundamental perspective, I think we could push back down in the structure. We'll keep an eye out on it, and we'll see what happens. It's likely that we may even get triggered in this bad boy on Monday. I'll keep you guys posted if you guys are in that community. And if not, I'll just update y'all on the channel as the trade unfolds. All right. So USD CHF, this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about the CHF. Notice we're finally consolidating up here at this high on the CHF. That's a pretty big deal. If that CHF starts to gain any kind of strength, or that US dollar starts to gain any kind of weakness, we have a beautiful sell side break here, folks, that I would love to take. You know, and I really do already have my entry. Probably be something around this 99 mids. Okay, so right now we're at the 99.50s. Anything within the 99.60s and, you know, the 99 really 40s or 35, I could take that thing sell side. All right, so we would look for a move down to that 23.6. That's where the first bit of volatility will kind of come out. And then obviously we would love to take it down to that 38.2 or that 50. We're technically getting in early since the market hasn't already touched that 23.6, but that's not always a bad thing. Okay, that's not always a bad thing. I don't really have another swing that I really trust. We somewhat have a little bit of a swing low right here in this price area, and that might be our swing high, but not really. We'll keep an eye on this CHF. Let me go over and show you guys, well, before I go and show you guys the exotics and the crosses, I want to show you guys this UCAD real quick, just to show you what this UCAD is looking like structurally. This is UCAD, again, somewhat consolidated right here the past 4 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've been consolidating within a 28 and, man, a really tight range, 100 points. Okay, so definitely we will see some kind of breakout happen. It just depends on when, where, why, and how. This is what we're looking like right now from a structural standpoint. We did see markets rebound at this low after breaking the high, breaking the low, back in the mids. That's goodness, man. That washed so many traders out when I see structures like that. Right, so this is your structure, right? If you had some guys that want to play this as a flag, okay, well then look, check this out. They got their breakout, and then look what happened. Pulled right back down in. You had some guys that wanted to play this as a mean reversion style position. They got their break lower, okay? Now their stopped entry spread potentially just widened because of that breakout higher, or they could have just put their stops right here at this structure there. But nevertheless, what ended up happening, we pulled right back up into that same structure. And yeah, potentially you would have gotten stopped out if you put your stops here, trying to be a little bit more, a little bit more risky, right? Because depending on how wide your stop entry spread is, it depends on how aggressive you're trying to be and how sure you are as to where this market's going to turn around or not. I would not be so, you know, pressed to put a stop right around this top structure. I hate this. Price discovery allowed markets to trade right back up into that area, and you know it could allow it to happen again. And now we're just really trading and sitting and consolidating within this entire range here. Where are we now? Boom, we're now back again up into that same price area. I could probably see this move traded higher, man. I really can, and that would mean that we are getting some more US dollar strength. Now, obviously, this is a daily. We're on a daily right now, and Friday's close. That was a massive move. Would have been nice to get some size in at the $1.28 flats, but right now this market's sitting right here at this 28.80s. We'd have to potentially, you know, you're getting in a little late. That Friday market was an easy one to play. We're getting in a little late. We'll see what happens. Overall, would like to see CAD potentially long. Okay, so pulling over into these exotics and miners. Real quick, wanted to continue to show you guys the CHF. The CHF, again, we know that US dollar has been somewhat consolidated. It's had a hard time maintaining its strength, so it's consolidated and somewhat pulled back as well. Check out the CHF. Euro CHF, we've seen a breakdown of this structure. That's pretty interesting. If I show you guys here the Aussie CHF, we know Aussie's been having a pretty hard time. So has New Zealand. Let's see. So here we go. Lots and lots and lots of consolidation on that end. But when I head over and show you guys this GBP CHF, you guys will see that there is more sell side here on this CHF. So Euro CHF, GBP CHF, we're seeing sell side. On the Euro, we're seeing weakness, which means what? That just means that this CHF is really getting seriously weak, because if we saw the move happen in that Euro-U, then that means just the CHF is getting that much weaker than the Euro. Sorry, not the Euro-U, but the Euro. Okay, so overall, I like to see the CHF weakening like this, because all that means is it's giving, strengthening, sorry. All that means is it's giving me ample opportunity to potentially play that USD CAD short. Because if, USD CHF short, goodness, if USD CHF, if the USD gets data out this week that's, somewhat negative, maybe we can start to play that over there on that USD CHF, okay, and vice versa for the CHF. So we know that US dollar is somewhat overextended a bit. Is it that momentous? Will it continue to run? Potentially could, but we always want to have our contingency plays where we say, hey, I want to do this, but if this happens, I would like to do that. Now, at the end of the day, it would be great to say, I want to do this. I don't care about anything else. This is the best trade that there is. But there seems to be a lot of opportunity out. So we can technically play both sides. But you just want to be extremely careful when you're playing both sides, because you'll get whipped in and out of these markets, and the market will go in one of the directions you picked, and you won't make any money just because, again, it'll break the high, it'll break the low, wash everybody out, and then continue in one direction. Pretty interesting stuff. And that's usually happening because of market inefficiencies, but we'll talk about that at a later date. So, guys, that's what I'm looking at real quick here. Let's take a look at this GBP AUD. GBP AUD sitting down here at this consolidated low could push a little bit lower, but I do like to see this GBP down here in this price area. That would be a very good opportunity to potentially start taking this thing back up in the structure if that pound starts to gain strength. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep an eye on pound data. All right, so outside of that, folks, I don't really see too much over here on the crosses. Here's that GBP JPY just to kind of give you guys some clarity as to what we were looking for. Nick called out this position here. He wanted to see an up move, and you know, we somewhat got it. When he was calling this position out, he was looking at it really just as this here. Okay, so he didn't have any of that extra price action, and then day by day, the market retested again, didn't close lower though. Boom, and then we start to get that explosion, and then bam, we finally break outside of this structure here. That structure really does look like a 23.6, and would you look at that? It is. So this area here, markets broke out, and they haven't stopped ever since, if you guys can see. So there seems to be more upside potential here on this GBP JPY, but you know, you will probably want to start going long, maybe in the $1.4880s, and that will probably save you some massive headaches and some massive drawdowns. So guys, let's see what we get. Okay, I like the euro. I would like to see the euro a little bit shorter, but we may get some dollar weakness. If we get dollar weakness, let's play that over there on the CHF. Okay, the USD CHF. Let's keep an eye over here on this GBP JPY as well to see you know, what can end up happening to it over the next few days. And if there's anything else, you guys totally let me know. Comment down below what you're looking for, and I'll be right there to talk with you. Okay, guys, your profit always my motive. If you guys need anything, let me know. Head over into that trading community. Link is in the bio. I'll talk to you guys real soon.